All she wanted was to make the best out of her summer vacation by traveling all of US. But all of that changes when she is mysteriously found dead, leaving the entire world with so many unanswered questions. Join us as we dive into the life of Elisa Lam.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode. In this week's episode, we're going to talk about Eliza Lamb.
Okay, so the interest of Eliza's disappearance increased on the 14th of February 2013 when the LA Police Department released a security camera footage of her behaving erratically in a hotel elevator on the day she was last seen alive. Elisa was a 21-year-old student at the University of British Columbia who disappeared in 2013 at the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles while she was traveling across the US. Elisa traveled to California on the intercity buses by herself. She went to the San Diego Zoo and shared pictures on her socials. She arrived to LA on the 26th of January. She checked into the Cecil Hotel. She was initially assigned to a shared room on the hotel's fifth floor. However, her roommates complained about what the lawyers would later describe as certain odd behavior. Elisa was later then moved to a room of her own 2 days later. Elisa was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and depression. She was prescribed medication for it. According to her family, who happened to keep her mental illness private, she had no history of suicide attempts, although there was a report that claimed she had previously gone missing for a brief period. Elisa contacted her parents in British Columbia every day while traveling. Her parents did not hear from her on the 1st of February 2013, the day she was supposed to check out of Cecil and leave for Santa Cruz. Her parents contacted the LAPD, where her relatives had flown to LA in order to help assist with the search. When the hotel employees spotted Elisa that day, they reported she was alone. Katie Orphan, manager of the last bookstore outside the hotel, was the only person who remembered seeing her that day. Orphan told CNN that while collecting gifts for her family, that she was a very outgoing, very lively, very friendly. She was discussing which books she wanted, she was getting, and whether or not what she was getting would be too heavy for her to carry around as she traveled. Orphan added. The police searched the hotel to the extent that they were legally permitted to do so, because at that time they couldn't check each and every room as they needed a much more probable cause. So they checked Elisa's room and had dogs search the entire building, including the room, but they were unable to locate her smell. The LAPD decided that extra assistance was required on the 6th of Feb, a week later after Elisa was last seen. Flyers with her image were distributed across the area and onto the internet. They used the media to gain the public's attention. After another week of no sightings of Elisa, the LAPD published a video of her last confirmed sightings, which was captured on the 1st of Feb by a video surveillance camera in one of the Cecil's elevators. Elisa alone made peculiar actions and gestures in around 2.5 minutes of the tape, including leaving the elevator and its doors stay open, even though she appears to have hit buttons. She exits when the doors do not close after she returns the doors closed later. Due to her odd behavior, the video sparked worldwide interest in the case, and it was extensively researched and discussed. It was disturbing to most viewers. A number of explanations have emerged to explain her conduct, one possibly being that she was attempting to manipulate the elevator in order to flee from someone that was pursuing her. Others speculated that she was high on ecstasy or another drug. No such substance was found in her system. When her bipolar diagnosis was revealed, there was speculation that she was having a psychotic episode. Others claimed that the footage had been altered with before it was released to the public. In addition to the timestamp being obscured, parts of the video had been slowed down, and nearly a minute of the video was erased. Guests at the hotel began complaining about low water pressure during the search for Elisa. Some people afterwards said that their water was dark in colors and tasted strange. A hotel maintenance worker discovered Elisa's body in one of 4,000-gallon tank on the roof that provided water to the guest rooms. He noticed her laying face up in the water through the open hatch because the maintenance hatch was too narrow to allow the equipment needed to remove her body. The tank was later drained to retrieve her body. The LA coroner's office issued an accidental drowning finding on the 21st of Feb, citing bipolar disorder as a key factor. Elisa's body was discovered naked according to the full report, and clothing similar to that she was wearing in the elevator footage was floating in the water. Her body was swollen and moderately decayed. It was primarily greenish, with some marbling and skin separation visible on the abdomen. Physical harm, sexual assault, or suicide were not found. Toxicology examinations revealed traces of prescription medications as well as non-prescribed medication like Sinative and Brufen located among her possessions. There was a trace amount of alcohol, but no other drug. However, investigators and experts noticed that the percentage of her prescription drug in her system suggested she was under-medicating or had just stopped taking her meds. So yeah, that's the case basically.
Wait, what was the cause of death?
They ruled it out as accidental drowning, and some said she was having an episode because of her bipolar disorder. And I mean, there are a lot of theories, which
strange that they would
Supreme
manipulate the video before uploading it.
And the only people that could have access to that is the maintenance, like the hotel itself. But the hotel itself is a very shady place because there have been suicide attempts, murders, serial killers at the time used to live in that hotel. I think there were like 3 famous ones. I forgot. And it was also known for ghost sightings and stuff like that. So the hotel itself was just shady to the very core of it. And I don't know, for me, I hate paranormal activities and stuff, so that shit scares me. But like the issues that were faced, because for her to get into such a tank in the first place is impossible. Like, because to get to the rooftop, most said that it does need key card access. Only the maintenance, the people that work in the hotel would have such access. So how did she get onto the roof in the first place? And to get into a tank that is so huge, and to open the lid to that tank is nearly impossible. So I don't see how she got inside the tank. It's
so
like,
you think someone chased her up there or brought her up there?
Yeah.
It must, and the person must have been either had access to or was one of the maintenance people with the keys.
Thing with and like that could kind of explain the elevator video, but kind of not. So there's this Japanese game, right? Some say that she could possibly be playing that, where there's a sequence to that game. I don't know how to explain it, but the whole purpose of that game is that you can appear to a different realm. So the way she was doing it kind of portrayed that, like she was playing that game. So like you click the button, like you click a number, there's a sequence to it, and then you go out, and then you come back in and do the same thing over and over. I don't know. And then automatically you're in a different realm or something.
Wow.
Yeah, but I don't know if people have actually done that and actually traveled to a different realm, but it's an actual thing apparently. But it could also be that someone was chasing her, but then her going in and out of the elevator kind of didn't, I don't know, because maybe the person chasing her knew the cameras, so it could be like the maintenance crew, because I mean, who else would study the cameras, like where they're placed, so that they could have been hidden? But her continuously entering and exiting, and all of her hand gestures, I don't know. Maybe her, because she was also under medicating, so she wasn't properly taking her medication. That kind of could explain her hallucination or something as well.
Mm-hmm. You know, do you know what the Mandela effect is?
No, what is it?
Okay, so it's named after Nelson Mandela. So basically, it's people remembering things differently, and a large minority of people remember something a certain way, and the rest of the people remember it another way. And the large minority, they believe that thing like in a very specific way. So it's not something that changes generally within the group. So an example of this was when Nelson Mandela, he died, I think in 1996, 97. Oh no, sorry. When he died in 2011, 12, sometime there, when it came in the newspapers, a lot of people, when they saw the news, they were shocked because they had heard that he died in prison in 1990, even though he hadn't died in prison. So that's where the name Mandela effect comes from. And there's explanations for it. Like some people say that people are just remembering things wrong, and some people take it to the extreme and say like, oh, these are people from another dimension. It's crazy stuff. But there's an interesting Mandela effect regarding this case, where some people remembered that the water, what's that called? The water tank that she was found in. Yeah. Some people remember it being open.
Yeah, while others believed it was closed.
Yeah.
Also, there was a movie before her death. It was called, I don't know, something, and ends with waters. It kind of seems like the exact same thing, like the way she was dressed and the way the actress in that movie was dressed was the exact same, like same outfit. So it was like either she was trying to make a replica of that movie or something, or someone had some sort of sick fantasy about it.
What happens in the movie?
I didn't really watch it, but like it was basically about this mother and daughter. They check into this hotel and then find leakage water and stuff, and some shady people are in it, and like the water turns black when I think her daughter gets stuck onto the tank or something like that. It was weird. I didn't watch the movie.
That sounds like exactly what happened.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was way too similar.
Does she have any sort of like mental illness or anything like that?
I mean, she was diagnosed with bipolar and depression.
You think maybe she was just reenacting the movie because she liked it a lot? Is there any evidence that she had even watched the movie?
No, there was no evidence.
Hmm.
But here's something that's very fishy. She had this blog post, right? Like she was big on social where she went, like occasionally checked herself in there and like talked to the outer community and stuff. Um, which she later then switched to a different this thing. Her phone could not be found, like inside the hotel, and her blog post after she had passed away just automatically kept what do you call updating her like her status and everything. So either someone like hacked into it, or I don't know what sort of social it was because it wasn't like the usual ones, or she probably just had some post where she could, like you auto generate it to like post on its own. So they couldn't find her phone,
They didn't find her
which
phone.
kind of, which was kind of fishy. Um, and they also questioned her autopsy report because there was subconscious like pooling of blood in her anal region, which some observed as sexual assault, but a pathologist noted it could have been resulted from the bloating in the course of her body decomposing inside that tank.
Hmm. This case is really fishy. Like they manipulated the evidence, like the footage and everything. There is no clear motive. I mean, it's not even ruled as a suicide or homicide, right?
Yeah.
The circumstances are weird. How did she get up there? Where did she get the maintenance key required to get up there? How did she get into the tank by herself, or was there someone there with her? And then, with the movie you were talking about, the plot of the movie sounds exactly like what actually happened.
Yeah.
Hmm. And her history of bipolar disorder is just.
When you Google up a picture of her, it's like she looked like an average teenager.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That
I'm noticing now, that all of these people look at like average people.
it's insane.
What do you think happened to her?
But I'm hoping it's nothing paranormal. But still doesn't explain how she got up there. Like, I mean, it's a very shady hotel, but so I'm just gonna go with the fact that someone like put her in there. I don't know, maybe she was having an episode and like one of the staff members. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I mean, she wasn't always inside that hotel for her to like, get close to people, because she was mostly like there for the whole purpose of like traveling and sightseeing and stuff like that. So, but because it doesn't explain how she gets onto the top of the roof and actually lifts that thing and dumps her body there. Like, even if she was having an episode at that time, kind of doesn't explain like the strength you have to like, climb up onto that tank and like lift the lid if it was open or if it was closed.
Mm.
Because
Was she in LA alone? Did she come with someone, or did she go there alone?
oh no, she was alone. She came there for travel purpose.
I feel like maybe it was a mix of having an episode and the influence from the movie, and maybe even that Japanese cartoon thing.
It's not a cartoon. It's a game they used to play.
Okay.
Let me like check that out. You basically enter the elevator alone or with a friend. So basically, it can only be 2 people, and then you proceed to the 4th floor, descend to the 2nd, proceed to the 6th, return to the 2nd, then to the 10th, and then to the 5th. Then press the button for the 1st floor. That's how you play it.
Has anyone actually gone to another dimension playing this game?
Let's see. And now, according to this site, it doesn't really show if anyone's like played the game. But apparently, a couple of things that might happen is that you might meet a woman who will enter the lift and who you should apparently ignore at all costs. And if you get off on the 10th floor, you might enter another world.
That was the confusing case of Elisa Lam. Tragic, but she left a lot of questions in her wake. Hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Tune in next week where we're gonna do my episode. Goodbye.
Adios.